In this video, I'm going to be giving an introduction to the rectangular coordinate system and also talking about how to plot points and how to find the coordinates of points that have been plotted. So first we have to talk about the rectangular coordinate system. This is also called the Cartesian coordinate system, or you might hear Cartesian plane. So a rectangular coordinate system is made up of what we call two axes. So an axis is a number line. So this is the x-axis going left to right, and we have the y-axis going up and down. Both of these number lines, as we move to the right, it gets more positive, and as we move to the left, it gets negative. As we move up, it gets positive, and as we move down, it gets negative. So on this rectangular coordinate system, we have what we call ordered pairs. Ordered pairs just tell us where on this graph we would plot a point. So in an ordered pair, they always are labeled XY. The X tells us the horizontal coordinate, or how far left and right we would move. The Y coordinate, or the vertical coordinate, tells us how far up and down we would move. Also on this rectangular coordinate system, we have this middle point where the two axes intersect. This point here is called the origin. It is the point we label 0, 0. We're not moving up and or left and right, we're not moving up and down. From there, we would use the ordered pair to determine where on the graph we would plot a point. You can also see that when we have these two axes intersect each other, we have 4 different spaces on the graph. These are called quadrants. We always start in the first quadrant with the ordered pairs that are completely positive. So positive on the x-axis, positive on the y-axis. From there, we would move counterclockwise to label the other quadrants. So this is quadrant 1, moving left we get quadrant 2, down is quadrant 3, and back over to the right is quadrant 4. So now let's talk about how to graph these ordered pairs. So this first ordered pair I have is -1, 3. Again, the ordered pairs always go x, y. I remember this because they are alphabetical. So my ordered pairs will always be alphabetical, x first, then y. Now, I start at the origin. From there, I'm going to use my x coordinate to tell me how far to move left, right. So I'm going to move back 1. And then I use my y coordinate to tell me how far up and down. Because it's positive, I'm going to go up 3. And I will label my point. So I have to use both coordinates before I label it. So here is the point A. I've had a student in the past tell me the way she remembered how to plot these, because it's very easy to mix up the x and the y and flip-flop the order, is that first you have to walk to the elevator and then you can write it up or down. So let's try this next one. X, y. So from the origin, I'm going to move back 3 in the negative direction and down 4, also in the negative direction of the y-axis. This is point B. So I go -3, I walk to the elevator, I write it down 4 floors. XY. So I'm going to move +5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the x-axis, and down 1 on the y. This is point C. And again, if your graph isn't labeled, you could always fill in this as the x-axis, and this is the y-axis. Now this last point, -5, 0. So from here, I'm going to start at the origin, move back 5, And I'm not going to go up or down. I'm going to stay on this floor. So the coordinate D is actually on the x-axis, is not in a quadrant, it is on the x-axis. Now, let's talk about determining the coordinates of a plotted point. So this is kind of hard to see, so I'm going to go ahead and relabel this graph here, just so you can see the x and y axis. This is the x-axis, and this is the y-axis. Alright, so now I'm going to find the coordinates of these selected points. So point A. So from the origin, I am not moving left or right. I'm going up 4. So I did not walk to an elevator. I stayed there. I moved up 4. Now, to get to point B, I have to walk 4 paces in the positive direction, and then I can go up 2 floors. C, I go 1 in the positive, and then this is about halfway between 1 and 2. So you might not always get whole numbers. I went 1 in the x direction and 1.5 up on the y-axis. You could also label that as 1, 1.5. Okay, I would assume your homework would prefer the decimal for something like that. D, I would move -2 on the x-axis up 2 vertically. E, I move down 4. Sorry, let me start over. I move back. First I have to walk to the elevator and then ride it down 4 floors. So -2 for the x, -4 for the y. See, I made that same mistake and I stopped myself. So again, starting at the origin, walk to the elevator, then you can write it up or down. And lastly, F. So from the origin, I'm going to walk 5 and write it down 4. So 5 on the x-axis, -4 for the y. Alright, thanks guys.